I felt when I finished Anthem today. It was awesome. Sienna on this one. It's not my favorite book in the world, but it was a really good read. First, of course, is the individuality aspect of it. The book was written to kind of contrast the ideas of, like you were saying, conformity, etc. You know, you are your own person and that's okay. Secondly, it kind of brings up the thought that conformity really isn't that bad, at least not all the time. I noticed in the end of the book, when he was thinking to himself and everything, he's kind of like, yeah, I'm my own person and I'm going to remain my own person. But then he also had thoughts about his friends, and he's like, we is okay, but we is only okay if I say we is okay. It was really interesting when he discovered the word I, and then he started using it all the time, and after reading the entire book, when he's saying we and switching to I was really jarring. It kind of made me think of kind of the Great Commandment, you know, when people went up to Jesus and they're like, okay, Jesus, so what's the commandment? You know, what are we supposed to do? Love your neighbor as yourself. 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 And that's kind of what I've been getting out of this book, is kind of what this society had grown up to believe, but they cut off the second half of that commandment, which is really the first half of that commandment, which is love yourself. Like, it's not possible to fully love your neighbor unless you love yourself first. Nobody in that society actually loved their neighbor. Everyone in that society was just doing what they were told because it looked like they were loving their neighbors. It looked like they were having fulfilled life, but it really sucked. When equality went out into the forest, etc., he loved himself and he was really happy. And it was when he got alone and he got into the house and he was with his wife, who was, I guess, technically not his wife because they weren't legally married, but their laws were screwed up, so we'll just ignore that. His thoughts first turned to himself and how awesome it was, but then they immediately turned to his friends. I don't remember all their names because they were stupid names with numbers. I'm gonna go rescue these people because I love them and they're awesome and they deserve to be rescued. Yeah, that was kind of what I got out of the book, and I thought it was really interesting. It was just a really interesting read. Nice and short. I could have finished it in a day if I had actually finished it in a day, but I didn't. So if anybody hasn't read it and anybody is watching this video, I guess I kind of spoiled the end for you, so sorry, but it's still worth a read. I'm gonna pause because I still don't know what we're reading next week. Oh! I decided what we're reading next week. Sorry, Jazz, you're probably gonna have to read off of the Kindle. I know you don't have this book, but I don't either, so I'll also have to read off of Kindle on my computer. I would like to read The Three Musketeers. I was looking up classical books, whatever, to read because I kind of want to read some, and that seemed like one of the shortest. If it's not, oh well, we're getting into something really long. I think it's a great story and I want to read it.